morning there. You're watching QTV this morning, and I am Jane Obasonko, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Ibrahim Abalde. Ibrahim, welcome to the program.
Well, it's good to be back again on this morning, and of course, it's a very long weekend for me, you know, because I took, 2 days off, Thursday, Friday, so Saturday and Sunday I didn't come to work, so what a rest.
Yeah, what a rest, right? But anyway, as we speak, we all know what's happening in the country. We had a heavy downpour for the past 2 days, and we saw that a lot of families have been affected by this heavy downpour. So we're actually sending some love and light to these individuals, and we hope that the relief that they need to get, they will get on time. I just saw Alassane Senghor of the Gambia Red Cross Society just talking about the fact that when relief and response does not get to the individuals who need it on time, then it is meaningless. So we hope that all these victims of this flood will actually get the required support that they deserve. We saw the Vice President yesterday was going round to actually check on the victims of the flood, as well as we are aware that the President of the Gambia as well today will be out to go on a tour to see areas that have been affected, as well as just, you know, join victims as to some of the things that they're going through. We also saw our fellow journalists, even, you know, the likes of Sally Jeng and others being, you know, affected by this particular problem that we're getting to deal with. Just last week, we hosted the National Disaster Management Agency, and we were talking about proper strategies in place, proper urban planning, proper settlement to ensure that, you know, the drainage system is good enough, you know, waterways and all of that, the proper usage of early warning systems, you know, because if proper early warning systems do exist, then at least certain parts could have been alerted that this is coming and this is how bad it is. But I'm sure if we were supposed to do a survey to ask how many individuals did know about, you know, signs or early warnings that were shared, it will be quite less.
Yes, that's true, Jenna. But I mean, it is very devastating. Yeah. I mean, the downpour was really heavy, and most of the people, I mean, find themselves in that situation. It is an unfortunate incident. Yeah. Yes, but about the early warning signs and all these jobs that the National Disaster Management Agency have been doing, I mean, sometimes I wonder, I mean, all the efforts that they've been doing and all the coordination and all the sensitization, everything goes in vain. Because if you look at it, almost every year, I mean, such a thing happens. And, you know, most of the time, all these departments will come and say, we've identified the problem, and this is the solution to the problem, but still we go back to the same problem. You know, so now, for me, I wonder what is going to be the final solution to all these things.
Well, you know, we have to ensure that our cities or however you call it are resilient, and to be able to do that, proper strategies have to be put in place. You know, we know that the rainy season comes every time. People who are living in, you know, areas that are not habitable, they should be relocated. I know it's better said than done, but we know this is a problem. So now, it's only action that can actually solve this problem. It's not about the Vice President or the President or, you know, authorities going around to see these victims. At the end of the day, well, after seeing the victims, are you going, what next?
Yes, exactly. Not only seeing them, I mean, if you see them, like you said, what next? What is going to happen? Is that going to, I mean, change things? But I mean, some people settled on waterways. I mean, the guy, Mr. Juf was here the other time, and he said it. I mean, you know, this is a waterway, and you settled on it. I mean, so I think these are things that should be avoided for future problems, because you might settle on a waterway and you destroy for many people.
Yeah, but the thing is, Mr. Juf also talked about the lack of coordination in that area, because then you would see there's no coordination between the bodies that are supposed to even determine areas where people are supposed to settle, you know. That's the thing. NDMA has a stake in it. Another institution has a stake in it. But probably just one institution is given, you know, the powers to determine some of these
things. I can remember telling him, I mean, it's not only the National Disaster Management. I mean, it's almost many departments in the Gambia here. Coordination is a problem, communications is a problem. At some point, I mean, you will not even know the department responsible of so and so. So I think these are things, I mean, if we are very serious when it comes to nation building, I mean, empowering and helping our people, we have to go through all these things. We have to find the solutions. We have to put all, I mean, hands on deck to make sure, I mean, these things are done. I mean, but if national disaster management is doing what they can do, and I mean, the physical planning is not even looking at it, I mean, so there is a problem.
So another thing that also needs to be looked at is the fact that because the NDMA is the body responsible to coordinate response, as in relief, I'm urging companies to actually channel their support through the NDMA. Because sometimes you can see a duplication of effort whereby NDMA has the database. They will do the required survey to know victims affected. So I think it's important that some of these things are channeled through, you know, through the NDMA as the coordinating body to be able to get these funds or whatever support that is existing to the required individuals. Because if it's too scanty, everyone trying to do what they want to do,
you know,
then it's a problem.
At some point, it is very difficult.
Yeah, as you can see, this is how bad actually the flood yesterday was. You can see how families are actually trying to remove water from their you know, verandas and all of that. This is how bad things are. Yeah.
It is very important, I mean, for you know, institutions to work together in order to help prevent future problems like this. I mean, institutions like NDMA and, you know, the physical planning. We cannot do, you know, Geneva, you know, I think all that we're saying, this is a problem of physical planning. I think physical planning have a huge take when it comes to this, because they are responsible for planning. They are responsible for all, I mean, set up in certain areas, I mean, for certain people. You know,
and so also Department of Water Resources. But before that, welcome to the program, Mr. Ade. Thank you for joining us. You live in an area where really it's quite difficult to actually even come to work due to, you know, the structures there. So how did you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, there have been times when it's flooded so badly that I can't even get, you all know, my colleagues know, I've had to work from home on a couple of occasions. I was interested listening to both of you, and you were talking about people living in flood affected areas. Well, trust me, with this particular flood, and we're not talking about the whole of Gambia, we're talking about Banjul and the greater Banjul area, everywhere has been affected. Effectively, everywhere is a flood affected area. And it is down to poor planning. Banjul and the greater Banjul has to be the worst designed city in the world. This happens, we have this conversation every single year. Nothing gets done about it. We will talk about it this year, and trust me, anybody set your watch, set your clock, set the calendar, we will be talking about this next year, because nothing gets done about it. There are, on Kairaba Avenue, there are gutters that lead nowhere. So they just act as a kind of receptacle for water. Rainwater comes and they just gather. I don't know whose idea of a joke it was to have these gutters that go and then they just stop. They just stop dead. And so why people don't think drainage is a serious matter, I don't know. But that is the problem we find ourselves with. Everywhere you go. So you're talking about people living in flood effect. Everybody is living in a flood affected area in Greater Banjul right now.
At some point, if you look at the drainage system in the country, at some point, like you mentioned, you'll not see where it leads to. I mean, let's take a look at the one at Westfield. It comes up to where you have the place where the vans.
That's right. They congregate.
Yes. It stopped there.
It stops there.
And it's supposed to, I mean, it's supposed to continue. You know, so these are all the plannings we have. These are the, this is the problem that we have. At some point, a drainage system is supposed to carry the water.
Lead somewhere.
But at some point, it will be filled. At some point, you wouldn't even know there is a particular, I mean,
and we've had instances where children even die. People die, you know, out of these things.
It's very serious.
You know, because the gutters are so full that you can't even tell this
realize,
is one,
I mean,
because it's not covered.
People can fall and break their legs.
Because it's not covered.
And then you in various places we have these dips in the road where it's meant to be act as some sort of drainage. And on Thursday, when I was coming to work, I had to turn back because we got to one of them. If people know it from Coastal Road, goes all the way down to sort of leads out at Westfield eventually. That road, there's a particular one which is so deep, it was like a river. And I wish I had time, or it was raining quite heavily, so I didn't have time to get out and film it, but I wish I had filmed it, because if you tell anybody, they wouldn't believe it.
When I look at a video like this, what comes to my mind, I mean, people are focusing only on the flood, I mean, the dangers that it caused. But you are not looking at the health aspect of it.
Yeah,
I mean, it is very dangerous. Look, you have the toilet there.
Yeah.
I mean, you have water covering the whole toilet,
and
you know, right inside the houses, which is, I mean,
and also,
it's crazy.
And I think before we go any further, I think we have to give the credit to Alhaji Manka.
Did you? I was about to say also.
For those,
let's just make sure we, you know,
because it's his drone footage, and it was done after the rains, but it captured it perfectly, particularly as you saw those families trying to bail out from their veranda. And as you mentioned, the toilets, all those toilets now, whatever was in them has risen and is now being carried around by the water. And because it's still, it's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
And you saw people wading, you know, knee deep and chest.
Look at that! Look at that!
Yeah.
That's actually Sally Jeng's family compound there.
Yeah.
She posted it on social media.
Yeah.
And that is how we got it.
Right.
Yeah, she's actually a fellow journalist.
Yeah.
So,
in fact, I saw it. I even retweeted it on.
We're so sorry about. But the issue of Alhaji Manka, I was just coming to shortly.
Sure.
I think Alhaji Manka, we need to give, you know, a special thumbs up. That is because he's been doing so well when it comes to capturing moments, capturing moments that we're not available. You know, we can remember during the impasse, you know, now flooding, just every moment that, you know, we feel that we might need to see, he's always there.
Yeah, I sent him a friend request on Facebook. He didn't reply, but
reply, you know. Alhaji Manka, thank you so much for the work that you do.
But
and for the whole media, in fact.
Of course.
You know, sharing footage and ensuring that
that's
everyone
right.
sees.
I mean, I was inundated with footage and photographs yesterday. The first person to call me was actually one of our colleagues who works at QCell, Dipakunda, Chupet town, which I'd never heard of. And it was flooded. And so I said, take some pictures with your phone, take them, you know, landscape. And it was like, can somebody come down here? I'm like, yes. And then we had the problem. How does a journalist who himself or herself is trapped in their home, they can't get out, same for a cameraman, same for a driver, how do they get out to cover it? You know, because they live in somewhere which is flood affected. No commercial driver is going to get there. And so it's kind of catch-22. You know, the people who should be out covering it can't cover it.
Technology is evolving. We have our drones. You know, it's important, you know, that we have sophisticated materials to be able to capture moments. Because without the drones, then we will not know how bad things are.
Although if you go back to when the rain was at its height overnight and in early morning, if it sent out a drone in that weather, it would have, so as you see from the Alhaji Manka pictures, it was after the rainfall.
After.
Because that, you know, obviously, if you sent it out, it would have to have the right amount of cover so
to
that
be able to.
So that it's not, you know, it's not affected. And there were quite some serious lightning strikes as well. So, you know, you have to have those considerations as well.
You do.
But,
so the Vice President, we are aware, yesterday was out and about to actually visit victims and, you know, just assess affected areas with officials from the NDMA and all the ministers
Ministry of Works.
All the other ministries, obviously in connection to anything that has to do with infrastructure. So let's take a look at that then. And when we come back, we'll continue the program. We'll be right back. All right.
You've been looking for the perfect indoor router with long-range Wi-Fi coverage and faster internet speed connecting all your smart devices? Well, we present to you the QCell Indoor Router, a router that has all you need and much more for just $4,275. You can get 4G plus internet speed, wide coverage, and connect up to 15 devices. And that's not all. The indoor router can be used for both office and home needs. So, enhance your internet experience with our indoor router. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Plus. We innovate, others follow.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there. It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
To build,
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly with the new QCell Q-Power code.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With a touch of your fingers,
With ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office,
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q-Power, lighting your world.
QCell Sunyabus.
We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back from that short break. We apologize. We introduced earlier that we'll bring you the Vice President's footage on visiting affected areas as well as victims, but hopefully the technicians are working on that and we'll be able to see that video shortly. So Ibrahima, I think we have an African proverb here while we await the community watch, as in the effects of the rain in the Greater Banjul area and beyond. Let's just take a look at our African proverb and delve into that.
Yes.
And then further move on.
Exactly. And the African proverb reads, how many cured patients remember their doctor? How many cured patients remember their doctor?
How many cured patients remember their doctor? Direct?
Yeah, it's direct, and you can take it both literally and also metaphorically. A lot of people, when something good happens to them, they get complacent and they don't remember. And that's why sometimes if you go into a shop and you get good service, you just think, oh, well, I got good service today. But if you get bad service, everybody gets to hear about it. I went into this shop and this did. You advertise the bad service.
Yeah.
People don't tend to advertise the good service they got from that same shop. You just take it, oh, well, you know, they treated me well, and you keep it to yourself. But if they treat you badly, everybody will hear about it. And it's a kind of similar sort of thing, you know, the doctor gives you good treatment, who says anything about it, you know? And you can also take it literally, because I can remember my own mother was misdiagnosed by her doctor, which led to her death in England.
Sorry.
Trust me, I told everybody I knew not to go and register with that doctor. I'm serious. I told everybody I would never. That doctor was like 2-minute walk from my house. Instead, I went and registered with the doctor that was 20 minutes walk away. Because of, you know what, and I told everybody. So you can even take it in a literal sense.
You can't compromise your health.
But generally, it's just important to give thanks. You know, just give credit to people.
Where it's due.
I love giving credit to people who positively actually contribute to whatever I do.
Yes, giving credit. I mean, the little things, they matter. I think this is where most employers get it wrong when it comes to their employees.
I hold my hand up, guilty.
Thank you.
Guilty.
Thank you.
Some of my guys.
I think when it comes to Q Group.
But Mr. Ade, you do give credit. No, you know why I say you do give credit? Like
I miss the moments of my boss, Mr. Yafa. He's a guy. When you work together, anytime he will tell you, very good. Thank you. Keep it up.
Says thank you.
He says that all the time. These are little things that matter. I mean, they motivate. Motivation doesn't mean you need to give me money.
But sometimes you could see, like when there's no one to read the news, and then I step in, you can see while I'm even going home, he would come all the way to the door, open the door and say, hey, thank you. Just that, the fact that you've volunteered to do something and your boss comes to your face to say, hey, thank you. Just that, you know, is enough for me. So I think really you do give gratitude.
No, most of the time one does, but there are times when you forget. And I can say this, and I'll say it publicly. During Tobaski, when everybody was getting stuffed on food and so on, a lot of our guys work throughout. Some of them, they haven't even taken the days off that they were owed when they worked through that Tobaski. And, yeah, some of them I said thank you, but, it should have been a bigger thank you.
I got a thank you though on that day. Yeah.
Yeah, but so
Yeah.
things like that. Sometimes the work can get so much that you forget to say thank you to people,
Yeah.
and we shouldn't take people for
And
granted.
also, managers or bosses or whatever leaders feel sometimes they're not supposed to say thank you. Because, the thing is, they just feel like, this is something that you're supposed to do. You're just supposed to do it, but not also recognizing that these are individuals who go the extra miles to put it together. So I think just generally, it's just
but
good
when you look at it too, not only employers, but employees should also say thank you to their bosses.
True.
Yeah.
To show gratitude.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's important when someone then does a service to you or someone did a favor to you. I mean, it's important. It's a give and take. I mean,
it should be. It should be.
So that's how it should be. I mean.
But I think that proverb nails it because
it's an Egyptian proverb. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So good doctor.
Yeah.
We all forget.
Yeah, it's important to give credit. So I'm aware that the Vice President's video is ready now.
Okay, cool.
So I think hopefully we'll be able to just see it shortly, and then when we come back, we continue the discussion. We'll be right back.
Cool.
As I said, on the mandate of the president has asked us to come out and look at the impact of the rains. And I have almost about 9 ministers with me, together with the mayor of KMC, and the councillor of the area is also around. I understand that this is part of the OIC road, about some kilometers. And I would invite the director of NRA to give an indication as to the scope and the nature of the road reconstruction.
Yes. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. As I told you, this is part of the 50-kilometer OIC roads. It is P1. It starts from the highway where we entered in, and it turns left at this junction here all the way to the cemetery, and we connect it back to the main highway. Originally, it was supposed to go between the two cemeteries, the Muslim cemetery and the Christian cemetery, and then exit at the Atlas station on the highway. But because of the the nature of the properties and of course the graveyards, we decide to link it to the main entrance here at the graveyard, the main Muslim graveyard. And
when do we hope to start work on this?
All works have already commenced.
No, I mean on this particular road.
On this comment, I will have to confirm with the contractors program to see how best they want to mobilize.
One of the roads that have also been given right of way already.
Yes,
because as you can see, it's an existing road. The only thing that we have issues here is the supply, the services, water and electricity and Gamtel. But what we have done now is we have gone into a direct discussion with the National Army, and they will help us now with the trenching so that we can fast track the movement of the services from the highway, so that the contractor can start immediately, because that is always the biggest problem. But now at least we have already got that initial discussion with the Army on, was it on Wednesday, and hopefully, when we finalize the framework document, we will see movement here on this road for the contractor to start work.
You will have to liaise with local government, because if some industries have not started building and it's just empty land, the president has talked about a second industrial site. Those people can be moved over there, so that this will open it up all the way to the swamps. So liaise with local government and NDMA, and also KMC, so that together as a team, you have a joint work, and then the left would know what the right is doing, and then they can be able to deal with that. So whoever the contractor and the consultant is should take note of those things, and you work with local government, as appropriate. Yeah, please.
Yeah, because
and NDMA.
Some of these places are currently a disputed area. On many occasions, the community will come to my office, and then we will mediate between the people who own the site and the community. He's aware of it. At some point, in fact, they even had to come up with cutlasses and wanted to attack whoever goes there. So I think that's something that would actually require urgent
local government working with KMC and the local community could solve the land issue.
Yeah.
Land tenure in this country could sometimes be very dicey. It's not a question of politics or ethnicity. It's a question of owning. Because the right to land is the sources of all independence.
Yes.
You know, even at the international level. Gambia got its independence. We want to protect our own territorial imperative. That's land. That's the nature of land. So we have to look at that. You know, local government, KMC, and then works and NDMA work together, sort it out, and then, as we said, if we can relocate some industries, we relocate them. If we have to relocate some people, we relocate them. Local government will work on that option. But also, it's a win-win situation. You are relocated, you have a better place, no floods, nothing, but also the canal flows naturally, and then it does not impact negatively on any neighborhood. So let's work towards that. That's the medium to the long-term strategy of this government. And we need to work as a team to sort it out on the mandate of the executive. Huh?
All right, that is the Vice President there and all the cabinet ministers talking about the issues. You can hear the NDMA Executive Director, Sana Dahaba, talking about the fact that these are actually disputed areas and pointing out how the Works Minister is actually aware of it. And then also the Vice President is recommending that, you know, government as the Ministry of Works and other institutions that have a stake in this should really collaborate with local councils, you know, councils to be able to solve, because at the end of the day, they're the grassroots, you know.
And he's also talking about relocating people.
Yes.
And I have to say, some of these things are easier said than done.
True.
If I live in an area and my child goes to a school just down the road and you want to relocate me somewhere else, first thing I'm going to say is there a school that my child can go to? And so there are lots of, you know, imponderables about that you have to consider when you're talking about these things. They're not easy, and it's because they're not easy that's why we find ourselves where we are. You know, it's almost as every year the rain takes us by surprise. I have to say this year it has been particularly heavy, particularly in the last week or two, and it's been unbelievably heavy. I mean, I know there are some of our colleagues who like the rain, but even those colleagues who love the rain, I think this time the rain
and also you know heavy downpour actually affects crops,
of course,
you know, because we have to know
heavy.
if
Yes, we the farmers know that.
Why
Mr. Ade, I mean, I think, I mean, in Africa, not only in the Gambia, we have to be very serious when it comes to tackling certain problems. The only time we have to, I mean, find a solution to our problem is when we are serious and when we are dedicated to solve our problems. It's, you see, for me, the Vice President is gone, like he's out looking at places. I am fine with it. I'm talking as a citizen here. You understand?
Sure.
I will not appreciate it. I will not talk about it. I will not clap for him until I see a solution.
Of course. I mean, if you live in these places and it happens every year, it doesn't matter how many politicians turn up and tell you,
I am
you know,
sitting here.
what you want is, are they going to solve my problem? That's all you want to know. That's all you want to know. And are they going to solve it? You know?
Well, we want action right now, just like now.
Well,
I mean, we have the funds.
The
funds are there, General.
No. The funds are in there.
The money is there.
It's not that the money is there, because what you're talking about, you know, we need action right now, is that the action needs to be properly coordinated, properly planned.
Exactly.
And that's what I don't see every year. I've been here since 2019. We get this every year. We get this every year. The rains come, it gets an area gets flooded, politicians go and they visit.
That's what I'm talking about.
The same place gets flooded the year.
That's what I'm talking about.
Want to see something done about it,
At
not
least
talk about
something
it.
to point out.
Well, it happened for the first time, and the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, and might be this is the 10th time it's happening. So I've been clapping and saying something will be done, and nothing is done all those previous years. So now,
and you know, we've talked. I've given the example of, you've given the example of these gutters that lead nowhere. Those need to be looked at, because if the water doesn't have an outlet, if it doesn't have an outlet,
it might be that is the problem. That is the only gutter giving us a problem.
Because there's no outlet. There are lots of these gutters all over the place. They're dotted all over the place. I don't even know why they do the pretense of having these gutters when they don't lead anywhere. You know, they need to be looked at. And okay, how do you solve that problem? That is part of the problem. But we don't seem to take drainage seriously. And so every year we get
very
this.
important.
Every year we get this.
So Mr. Ade, I'm aware that Mamadou Lamin Choi is on the line. You know, you've been going all over the country. You know, when I go on treks, I see the new billboards and everything of the National Health Insurance Scheme.
Yeah, sure.
You know, they've done a lot of publicity trying to educate the public with video ads, you know, billboards to actually let people know the importance of this insurance scheme. So today is the launching finally. You know, I just hope that with all the publicity, you know, the scheme will be the scheme that we need, you know, to give us the health coverage that we need, because we know how vulnerable, you know, and insufficient our health system is, and needs something like this. Just recently, we were commemorating Hepatitis Day, and we are talking about bringing hepatitis care closer to you. And we know how hepatitis is only treated in primary healthcare facilities, and, you know, majority of the health centers that we have are in really primary healthcare. So I think with the insurance, if done in the right way, then
I think what's happening today is people will be registering for it, and we'll be seeing that live hopefully. But the scheme came into force on the 1st of January this year.
So Choi is actually on the line. So Choi, can you just tell us what's happening there as people are there to register for the force health insurance scheme for the Gambia? Mamadou Lamin Choi, are you there?
Are you there?
It seems we cannot.
Well, if he's not, I can tell you some more about it. If somebody wants to benefit from this scheme, you pay into the scheme. As I said, it came into force on the 1st of January this year. Within 2 years, people have to register to take part in this. And so there's going to be something called the National Health Insurance Authority. That's also been inaugurated, and all the directors and the people on the board have also been put into place. So essentially what happens is you pay regularly to this, and then when you go for treatment, you then don't have to pay out of your own pocket. They have, it's been in England since 1948, so you know it's not a new idea. America adopted it under President Obama, and it's referred to as Obamacare. But essentially it's the same thing. It's kind of universal health insurance policy. You pay into it regularly. You might never use it, but somebody else might use it. You know, so we all pay into it, and it comes, you know, monthly or whatever, however frequently you are paid. A small portion goes into paying into this national health, and it covers you so you can walk into a hospital and you don't have to worry, am I going to be able to afford it? If I'm in England now, anything happens to me from, you know, sore foot to broken leg to whatever, I will get treated till I'm well, and I won't pay a penny because I've already paid into the scheme. It's
a smart way of you know, working towards changing dynamics when it comes to our health sector. Because at least Gambia here, there's not that habit of saying, okay, I'm saving this for my health, I'm saving this for feeding. People just go with the flow, and you know, that's how they do it. But at least this is a chance for you to say, at least I've saved up for my health, whereby if I walk into an outlet, I'll get treated. You go to bed knowing that at least your health and the health of your children is covered. Just that, you know, gives you a chance to walk on like greater things for you know, especially in vulnerable communities.
Because I can tell you, there are people who don't get treated and die because they're scared of going to get treated because they can't afford it. They know, I will never be able to afford the cost of my treatment. They stay home and die. You know, listen, that's shocking, but it's true. It happens. And so when you have something like this, you don't have that fear about, oh, you know, can I pay for it? Am I going to?
And what we do not want is, you know, for this scheme to be something of just books, and we want it to be coordinated. You know, we want to point at tangible successes to say this is going on accordingly. You know, we don't want the same issue of, you know, starting the scheme here and there, and then later things are mixed up. It's just jumbled up all over the place. You know, I think with this, you know, it's a great turning point. It's
yes, really it's important too when you pay into a scheme. I mean, it should be considered when you go to a hospital and you are to be treated. You need the medicine there. I mean, like medicine should be there. I mean, and things that you should, things that should be used, I mean, to treat you should be there. You understand? So as far as you're paying, and this is coming from you, it's your money. When you go to the hospital, you know, you should get adequate treatment.
That's right. And when we talk about universal health care, some people might be thinking, I will never be able to afford it. The authority that I mentioned will, with the Minister of Social Welfare, they will be determined, be able to determine, whether somebody is too poor to pay it. Obviously, children under 5.
All right. So, Saturday, we are aware that Choi is on the line now. So, Mamadou Lamin Choi, can you hear me now? Momodu Lamin Choi, are you there? I'm afraid he's not there still.
Yes, he can.
Okay,
all the mics put into that. Thank you.
Can you hear me, Choi?
Hello, Jennifer.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, so can you just give us a quick update? Behind you, it seems there's registration ongoing.
They're praying.
Oh.
The Lord's Prayer.
Thy name, thy kingdom, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
But Troy, it seems it's difficult. Yeah, we can't hear you, unfortunately. Well, Mr. Ade, yeah, so we were talking about how really, you know, this particular scheme, in your words, will be a game changer.
Yes, it's one of my favorite phrases, and it really will be if it is properly implemented.
Yeah.
So obviously children under 5. I mean, Troy, we know that they were saying the Lord's Prayer behind you. We didn't want to interrupt that.
Can you hear me now?
We are asking that you be with us
I don't think, Troy.
ceremony.
I think we have few
With all this
I think he can hear us, but I think he will be speaking against the prayers. So I don't think that will be.
So it's a game changer.
Yeah, it should be and it can be if it is implemented properly. So, you know, pregnant women in need of antenatal and postnatal care don't have to pay. Persons with mental illness don't have to pay. Differently able people don't have to pay. And pensioners will be pleased to know that they won't have to pay out of their pension towards it. Now, I've said all of that. What you get in England, where this thing has been running, as I said, since 1948, is that those who do pay sometimes complain. Oh, you know, I'm paying too much, and then you have all these other groups of people who don't pay into the scheme, but they benefit from it.
That is distribution of wealth.
Of course it is.
It's
you
just
know,
that simple.
and so it's just the way things are, because somebody who has a pension is obviously not, that doesn't have an income, and so you can't tax their pension on top of it. They pay tax all their lives. Now they're drawing a pension. Why should then? But they should also benefit from it. And so the rest of society, those who are working, they pay into it, and they pay for everybody, including, as I said, some people may never use it. I mean, in all my years in England, I probably maybe 2 or 3 times.
But that's how development comes at the end of the day. That's how development comes, you know. Wealth has to be distributed, you know, to just ensure that everyone is on a strong footing. So, you know, we've talked about that quite enough. So I think now we should kind of shift our attention to, you know, what's been happening at the National Assembly. We saw that the first session for this particular...
It was an extraordinary session.
Started, and we saw, you know, the debate heated here and there, having exchanged. So I think is Momodu Lamin Choi ready? So as we speak, we're just about to link to Momodu Lamin Choi, so that is all we'll have on this morning. So till we come your way tomorrow, we'll just allow you to be with Momodu Lamin Choi on this particular launching. Have a great day.
Of the Chief Executive Officer of the National Health Insurance Authority. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the National Health Insurance Scheme will be run by the National Health Insurance Authority, of course, in partnership with the stakeholders. This is a newly formed authority, and it's important for all of you to know that this authority also exists and now has a CEO, who is no other than Bai Marcen. Please give him a round of applause. Of course, not forgetting our host, the director of SOS Gambia. He's also in our midst, sitting right behind me. Please give him a round of applause also. To the Alcalo of Bakote and all parents, community leaders, representatives of various institutions, and of course, media partners covering this very important event. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and all protocols respectfully observed, you are all welcome to this very important occasion. Please clap for yourselves for making it to this event.